Our picks below will show you the best CPU for gaming. Of course, when shopping for the best CPU for gaming, you'll want to balance performance and features with your budget. You can also see how all of these processors stack up in our CPU benchmarks hierarchy. And for detailed help on picking the best processor, you can check out our 2024 CPU buying guide. And if you're on the fence about which CPU maker to go with, our AMD versus Intel article dives deep into the topic and comes up with a winner. AMD is pressuring Intel in the value gaming segment. AMD's new Ryzen 7 5700X 3D provides up to 30% more gaming performance than the lackluster Core i5 14400, making it a compelling option for those obsessed with the fastest value CPU for gaming, but it comes with trade-offs in productivity apps. In contrast, AMD's Ryzen 5 7600X and Ryzen 5 7600 are better all-rounders, and they also sell for much less than before. Motherboard and memory pricing is also now more favorable, giving the Ryzen lineup a win over the Core i5 14400. AMD's Ryzen 7 7800X 3D is both the best AMD CPU for gaming and the fastest gaming CPU in the world, and its $370 price point is far more accessible than AMD's other Ryzen 7003D V-Cache models. The innovative 3D stacked V-Cache design boosts gaming performance to new heights, but results in reduced performance in some productivity apps. Do your research before you buy, but it does deliver the best gaming performance overall. If you need more threaded heft, look to the Ryzen 7 and 9 versions listed below. To help you find the right model, we've listed the top 5 best CPU for gaming and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you. And as always, you can check pricing for any of these products in the description below. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. Number 5. AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. The Ryzen 7 7800X 3D is not only AMD's fastest gaming chip, it is the fastest available on the market and easily beats more expensive competitors from both Intel and AMD's own lineup. At an affordable $385, the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D is both the fastest gaming CPU on the market and a solid value in the high-performance category. The Ryzen 7 7800X 3D comes with 8 cores and 16 threads that operate at a 4.2 GHz base and 5.0 GHz boost clock rate. The chip employs AMD's second-gen 3D V-Cache tech that uses a 3D stacked SRAM chiplet to deliver an incredible 96 MB of L3 cache, and to great effect. The end result is a comparatively low-power chip that delivers incredible gaming performance. You do have to be aware of the trade-offs with this highly specialized chip. Our gaming benchmarks show that the 3D V-Cache doesn't boost performance in all games, though we found that it impacted nearly every title we tested. Additionally, the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D is optimized specifically for gaming, but it can't keep pace with similarly priced chips in productivity applications. If you're looking for a more balanced chip that does well at both gaming and applications, our tests show that the $399 Core i7 13700K listed below is a better choice. The previous gen Ryzen 7 5800X 3D uses the aging M4 platform with less advanced interfaces like PCIe 4.0 and DDR4 memory, while the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D snaps into M5 motherboards that support the latest connectivity tech like DDR5 and PCIe 5.0. AMD now allows both the Auto Overclocking Precision Boost Overdrive (PBO) and Curve Optimizer with the 7800X 3D, but still doesn't allow direct frequency overclocking. The Ryzen 7 7800X 3D has much lower power consumption than the Intel competition, making it a far cooler processor that won't require as expensive accommodations like a beefy cooler, motherboard, and power supply. That means the 7800X 3D delivers top-notch gaming performance along with a cooler, quieter, and less expensive system than you'll get with a Core i9. Number 4. AMD Ryzen 5 7600X. The $210 Ryzen 5 7600X competes with the $225 Core i5 14400, but the chip now sells much lower than launch pricing. Additionally, the arrival of more affordable B650 M5 motherboards and receding DDR5 pricing have eased our previous pricing concerns and made this chip the best value CPU for gaming. AMD also has the 6-core 12-thread $199 Ryzen 5 7600, which is very similar to the X-series Ryzen 5 7600X but costs $20 less and delivers close to the same amount of performance, trailing its X-series counterpart by 3% in gaming. The Ryzen 5 7600X is 14% faster than the Core i5 14000, 400 in 1080 gaming, and simple XPO memory tuning adds another 5%. The 7600X is also impressive in our productivity benchmarks, beating the Core i5 14000, 400 by 6% in single-threaded work and 3% in multi-threaded applications, making it a solid all-rounder if you prize performance in productivity workloads. The 7600X pairs the Zen 4 architecture with a 5M TSMC process to deliver a big gain in performance over the prior gen. However, the ability to fully overclock the CPU cores provides a decent increase in performance. In contrast, the Core i5 14000 400/F CPU cores aren't overclockable. The Ryzen 5 7600X's 6 cores run a 4.7 GHz base and 5.3 GHz boost and are fed by 32 MB of L3 cache. The chip supports all the standards we expect from a modern processor, including DDR5, PCI 5.0, and the latest USB connectivity standards. AMD has also added integrated graphics for a basic display output, which is a plus if you need to troubleshoot. The Ryzen 5 7600X doesn't come with a cooler, but a wide selection of affordable tower air coolers and IOs can keep the chip comfortably cool. You'll need a new AM5 motherboard, as the latest Zen 4 processors are not backward compatible. However, the AM5 platform provides forward compatibility with future Ryzen processors, a boon if you plan to upgrade down the road. This class of chip is best with a B-series board, but do your research before you pull the trigger. Some bargain basement options don't provide robust enough power circuitry to upgrade to higher-tier processors in the future. Number 3. AMD Ryzen 9 7950X3D. AMD's $600 Ryzen 9 7950X3D is geared specifically for gamers looking to blast through CPU-limited games, while still having the threaded heft of 16 cores that can handle the heaviest of productivity workloads. The new chip comes packing 16 Zen 4 cores and the company's second-gen 3D V-Cache tech that unlocks 128 MB of L3 cache, a combo that delivers the fastest gaming performance available from a flagship chip. In our tests, the 7950X3D beats Intel's fastest chip, the $690 6.2 GHz Core i9 14900KS, by 10% on average and up to 40% plus in some games. The 7950X3D uses AMD's cutting-edge 3D chip stacking technology called 3D V-Cache to enable an incredible 128 MB of L3 cache. Like AMD's inaugural X3D chip, the Zen 3 Ryzen 7 5800X3D, the extra L3 cache comes courtesy of a 3D stacked SRAM chiplet fused atop the processor with hybrid bonding, which accelerates gaming to new heights in many titles. AMD also has a new thread targeting technique designed to help apply the gains more evenly across a broad range of games. However, the Ryzen 9 7950X3D does lag its direct competition in some productivity apps due to the trade-offs associated with the 3D chip stacking tech, and it doesn't accelerate all games equally. As such, you'll need to study the pros and cons of the chip before pulling the trigger. However, one thing is certain, it's the fastest flagship gaming chip on the planet. The Ryzen 9 7950X3D brings all of the amenities we would expect from a modern processor, including support for DDR5, PCI 5.0, and the latest USB connectivity standards. AMD has also added integrated graphics for a basic display out for the first time, which is a plus if you need to troubleshoot. AMD's new Ryzen 7000 series chips do require a bulky cooler, so plan for a 240mm, 280mm or better IIO for the best performance. You'll also need a new AM5 motherboard, as the latest Zen processors are not backward compatible, and DDR5 memory is the only option. If you're looking to build the absolutely fastest gaming system, regardless of cost, the Ryzen 9 7950X3D is undoubtedly the fastest gaming chip currently available. Number 2. Intel Core i3-13100F. The $117 Core i3-13100F comes to market using the same winning formula that propelled the previous gen Core i3-12100F to the top of our recommendations for budget systems, making it a shoe-in for the best budget CPU in its price class. This chip delivers exceptional gaming performance along with good enough performance in productivity applications, given its price point. Notably, you can often find the previous gen Core i3-12100F at similar or lower pricing. And given that the two chips offer essentially the same level of performance, we recommend that you simply select whichever model costs less at the time. The Core i3-13100 has 6 cores and 12 threads operating at a 3.4 GHz base and 4.5 GHz boost clock rate. However, unlike the Core i5 models, it doesn't have E-cores for background tasks. It also has 12 MB of L3 cache. The 13100 has 16 PCIe 5.0 lanes and 4 PCIe 4.0 lanes and supports up to DDR4 3200 and DDR5 4800 NT/. Caveats apply to DDR5 support. Intel's non-K models don't allow overclocking of the CPU cores, but they do support memory overclocking. The Core i3-13100F also comes with Intel's new improved cooler, saving you some cash. Like the non-F model, it has a 60W PvP base and 89W MTP peak power rating, so it's easy to cool with the included cooler. Intel's Raptor Lake drops into socket 1700 motherboards from the 600 series or 700 series, including the Z, H, and B series boards. B and H series boards are the best fit. The Core i3-12100 is a locked chip, meaning it isn't overclockable. However, Intel supports memory overclocking on B and H series motherboards. Z series doesn't make sense for this class of chip though. Number 1. AMD Ryzen 5 5600G. The Ryzen 5 5600G steps into the arena as the value champ for APUs, which are chips with strong enough integrated graphics that they don't require a discrete GPU for light gaming. Just be sure you're willing to accept lowered quality settings. At $120, the Ryzen 5 5600G gives you 96% of the gaming performance on integrated graphics than its more expensive sibling, the $180 Ryzen 7 5700G, but for 25% less cash. Our testing shows that its level of performance makes it the best value APU on the market. As long as you're willing to sacrifice fidelity and resolution and keep your expectations in check, the Ryzen 5 5600G's Vega graphics have surprisingly good performance in gaming. The 5600G's Vega graphics served up comparatively great 1280x720 gaming across numerous titles in our tests, but options become more restricted at 1080p. Of course, you can get away with 1080p gaming, but you'll need to severely limit the fidelity settings with most titles. With 8 cores and 16 threads that operate at a 3.9 GHz base and boost up to 4.4 GHz, the Ryzen 5 5600G also offers solid performance for its price point in standard desktop PC applications. The chip also comes with a bundled Wraith Stealth cooler, sweetening the value prop, and drops into existing 500 series and some 400 series motherboards, though support on the latter will vary by vendor. If your budget is tight and you're looking to build a system for modest gaming, you should check out our best cheap CPU feature. Some of those chips can deliver passable gaming performance without a graphics card, and the prices start at just $55, £40.